In Chapter 11, we will discuss the cardiovascular system. When we hear this term, we usually think of the heart, but the cardiovascular system is much more than just the heart. Now, our cardiovascular system is a closed system composed of the heart and blood vessels. The heart pumps the blood, and the blood vessels are used to circulate that blood all over your body. Most simply stated, the major function of the cardiovascular system is transportation. It delivers oxygen and nutrients, removes the carbon dioxide and other waste products from the body. Quite simple, huh? The modest size and weight of the heart give few hints of its incredible strength. The heart is about the size of a person's fist and weighs less than a pound. It is snugly enclosed within the inferior mediastinum, which is the medial cavity of the thoracic, and the heart is flanked on each side by the lungs. The apex is pointed directly towards the left hip and rests on the diaphragm, and the base points towards the right shoulder and lies beneath the second rib. Now in this diagram here you can see the relationship of the heart to the sternum and the ribs, and also the cross-section shows the position of the heart in the thorax itself. In this diagram we can see the relationship of the heart and the great vessels to the lungs, how all that's situated in there. Kind of works pretty good, doesn't it? Now in this diagram we can see all the great vessels, the atriums and the ventricles, which we will talk about momentarily. Now the heart is enclosed by a double-walled sac called the pericardium. Now the loosely fitting superficial part of this sac is referred to as the fibrous pericardium. This layer helps protect the heart and anchors it to the surrounding structures. Now deep to this layer is the two-layer serous pericardium. The parietal layer is the inner surface of the fibrous pericardium, and the visceral layer, also known as the epicardium, is actually the wall of the heart itself. A slippery, lubricating fluid is found between the layers of the pericardium to allow the heart to beat easily without any friction whatsoever. Now in this diagram we can see the heart wall and the coverings. Kind of interesting, huh? Now the heart wall is composed of three layers. The outer layer is called the epicardium. We just talked about that. The myocardium, which is the middle layer, this actually is the part that contracts or beats. And then the endocardium, which is a thin sheet of endothelium that lines the heart chambers. Now here again we see the heart wall and its coverings. Now in this diagram you can see the frontal section showing all of the interior chambers and the valves. And also you can see that septum, which is part of the wall of the heart. Now the heart has four chambers, or cavities. They have two atria and two ventricles. Each of these chambers is lined with endocardium, which helps blood flow smoothly through the heart. The superior atria are the receiving chambers, while the inferior thick-walled ventricles are the discharging chambers. These are the pumps of the heart. When they contract, blood is propelled out of the heart into circulation. In this diagram, you can see both at the superior end, the atria, and at the inferior end, here you can see the ventricles. Now here we can see the anatomical differences between the right and the left ventricles. The left ventricle has a thicker wall than the right ventricle. The heart has a septum that divides the heart longitudinally and is referred to as either the interior ventricular septum or the interatrial septum, depending on which chamber it separates, right? Either the ventricles or the atria. So here again we see the atrias, and you can see the ventricles in this diagram, along with the septums. And next up we will talk about the circulation path and the wonderful valves that we've got. So what do we need to know from this particular lecture? Well, what is the function of the heart? What's the sac covering the heart called? There are three layers to the heart walls, and what are they? What are the receiving chambers of the heart? What are the discharging chambers of the heart called? And what are the walls separating each chamber called? Got all that? Hey, you're good for lecture number 1.